During the late 90s, the Pokemon craze was definitely at an all-time high. And besides things like an anime, video games, and merchandise, surprisingly enough, other industries began to take notice. And a lot of older Pokemon fans probably remember seeing this at one point or another, but yeah. There used to be Pokemon-themed airplanes that not only on the exterior had Pokemon on them, but also went as far as having full-on Pokemon themes inside of the planes. And this was something that actually existed through the late 90s and the 2000s, and even part of the 2010s. But nowadays, we don't see any airplanes that have Pokemon on them. This was something that had us really intrigued, and we wanted to look back at the history of the Pokemon jet or the Pokemon airplane collaborations, and one thing that's really unique is that this project might actually be making a big comeback very soon. But first, let's go to the very beginning. Now, when Pokemon first released in Japan in 1996, it started a Pokemon craze, and by the time the first Pokemon movie came out, it seemed like so many different industries wanted a piece of the Pokemon craze. I guess the airline and travel industry saw an opportunity as well. So in July of 1998, correlating to the release of Pokemon the first movie, All Nippon Airways announced that they would be debuting the first ever Pokemon jets, with the official Pokemon fleet consisting of a Boeing 747-400D and a Boeing 767-300. Now, these jets ended up being received so well that just a few weeks later, All Nippon Airways went ahead and announced a third jet, which would also be a Boeing 767-300 that would also have the same design. On the exterior of the plane on the hull, you could see popular Pokemon like Pikachu, Togepi, Mew, Mewtwo, Snorlax, Jigglypuff, even Clefairy, Psyduck, Squirtle, and Bulbasaur all made it onto the exterior of the plane. Rest in peace, Charmander. He's the only starter that didn't make it. And even cleverly enough, there's a flying Pikachu on the back of the plane, balloons and all. But All Nippon Airways didn't stop there. They actually took it a step further and incorporated Pokemon into the actual plane experience when you were riding in the plane as a passenger. For instance, for in-flight entertainment, it played Pikachu's Vacation. And there were things like special paper cups and headrest covers that were designed with the Pokemon theme, and flight attendants were wearing an original Pokemon designed apron. When we were doing research for this video, we actually stumbled across the official press release for the Pokemon airplane announcement, and they actually had this chart that gave information about all of the Pokemon that were featured on the outside of the plane and a little bit of context. And it's kind of interesting because some of the descriptions are very, very vague. Like, for instance, Squirtle gets tortoise-like Pokemon with cute eyes. Okay, but Psyduck, on the other hand, it's a duck Pokemon, but somehow you can catch it with a fishing rod. I don't know, I just like how they point out the strangeness of this Pokemon for this press release. Now, this is a pretty crazy idea in general to put some video game characters, or I guess at this point, Pokemon was definitely becoming more than just a video game phenomenon. It had passed way on beyond that. But in 1999, with the big popularity, 4 more jets were introduced, and while one of them was just the same design as the 1998 design, it actually took flights to the US, notably flying its first flight to New York through JFK's airport. Though the plane that flew to the US, oddly enough, had that flying Pikachu on the back not included in this version of the design. We actually uncovered the All Nippon Airways website that's still active from back when they did these Pokemon crossovers specifically for the original planes. And it's really interesting. They actually have a menu of some of the things and merchandise items that you can order if you're a big Pokemon fan. Now, originally, these items were sold through mail order through their in-flight magazine, which means the only way you could actually buy some of these things would be to look at the magazine while you're on the flight, get the little catalog card that came with it, fill it out, and likely give it to a flight attendant, and then wait 6 to 10 weeks for it to show up in the mail. But it's cool. There were some things on this item list lists that you could buy, like model airplanes, day bags, blankets, alarm clocks, towel, ponchos. But still, it was really cool to have some sort of interactive type experience where you could get some type of merchandise to commemorate your time flying on the Pokemon themed airplane. And interestingly enough, this first generation of planes actually stayed in the air and was available for travel up until 2001, when the planes were then repurposed away from the Pokemon partnership. But that was nowhere near the end of some big Pokemon type crossovers with Nippon Airways. For instance, in 1999, it was announced that a fifth aircraft would be painted in a Pokemon scheme, and a contest was actually held, which saw children between the ages of 6 and 12 submitting entries for what the plane should end up looking like. The announcement was timed to coincide with the release of Pokemon the Movie 2000 in Japan the summer of 1999, and the winning design was revealed in June of 99. This time around, the new design introduced some other Pokemon that were not originally on the first design, including a couple of the second generation Pokemon that had already begun to be revealed earlier on, like Marill, Togepi, Ladybug, and Elekid, but then there were also some older Pokemon that were still included, like Pikachu, Dratini, Lapras, Slowpoke, Horsey, Jigglypuff, and Meowth. These planes would end up lasting for several years before having their designs removed in 2006, and the planes retired in 2011, 2014, and 2016. But the Pokemon partnership would continue to promote more things that were coming in the Pokemon pipeline, and in 2004 we would see a Boeing 747 with a different set of Pokemon on the hull. For instance, there was Celebi, Plusle, Minun, Deoxys, Torchic, Munchlax, Jirachi, Latios, Latias, Pikachu, Mew, and the Pichu brothers. But no, it didn't stop there. There was also Trico, Mudkip, Meowth, Lugia, and Entei as well. And surprisingly enough, this one actually kept its design all the way until October 2013, making it a good 9 years before the jet itself was retired. However, there was actually another alternative design used on another Boeing 747 from 2004, which had Pikachu, the Pichu brothers, Mew, Wynot, Azurill, Castform, Bellossom, Minun, Plusle, Oddish, Igglybuff, Trapinch, Munchlax, and Roselia. And this one also made it a very long time, lasting another 9 years before the design was removed and the jet was retired in 2013. It's likely that these two planes that started in 2004 were the versions of the Pokemon airplanes that most travelers got to experience, as these planes were in use for a very long time. And while this generation of planes included some second gen and third gen Pokemon alongside the first gen Pokemon, it wouldn't be until after the release of the fifth generation of Pokemon games that we would see another set of aircraft dedicated for Pokemon with the 2011 Boeing 777. Nippon Airways was bringing back a new form of the Pokemon airplane for the first time in 7 years, and they actually originally intended to allow children to vote on the livery design for the Pokemon jet, but the voting event ended up actually getting cancelled as a result of the 2011 Tohoku earthquake and tsunami. The plane ended up later being dubbed the Peace Jet and took its first flight just 2 days after the Pokemon Black and White movies, and the designs had Pokemon like Oshawott, Pikachu, Victini, Zekrom, Darumaka, Pansage, Scraggy, Tepig, Snivy, Reshiram, Meowth, Axew, and Munna. They even introduced a crossover event if you had the Pokemon game with you, where if you're on the plane, you're able to receive a level 50 special Pikachu on your Nintendo DS. Best of all, this was a special Pikachu that knew the attack Fly, which was really fitting because you're on the airplane flying through the air, and you get a Pikachu that knows how to fly. Now, this plane would end up remaining Pokemon themed until 2016, and while during the years of its operation and use with the Pokemon partnership, it didn't see any exterior changes. It did have some interior changes, updating things like seat covers to coincide with the releases of Pokemon X and Y. And as it was clear that during this point, the partnership was likely reaching the end of an era, and moving forward, Nippon Airways would no longer have flights with the Pokemon theme associated with it and the iconic Pokemon on the exterior. This was definitely something very special during the late 90s and into the 2000s and even early 2010s, because it kind of defined an era showcasing how massive Pokemon really grew to become. And I think whether you actually got a chance to fly on one of these planes, or you just saw it on the news or knew about it through online posts or something like that, there was still something special about seeing characters that you recognized from one of your favorite franchises in a place where you never would actually expect them to end up going. And in a way, it was really sad when the Pokemon partnership came to an end. Though, as it would soon turn out, after a few years of nothing, Pokemon would be making an unexpected return to planes to kick off the 2020s. Announced in 2020, the regional airline Solaseed Air ended up doing a massive partnership with Pokemon, introducing a new design that would appear on a Boeing 737. Now, what's really awesome about this recent reboot to the Pokemon airplane saga is that this one was focused around, of all Pokemon, Executor, and used both the Alolan form version and the regular original form as one of the major mascots promoting this airline. And actually, this ended up being the first time just a single Pokemon was featured on the Pokemon jet, and as it would turn out, the Miyazaki airport ended up making Executor their official support Pokemon, or essentially the mascot of the entire airport. But this actually allowed for the Pokemon immersion experience to go way beyond just a flight. It seems like this crossover plan was stacked to the brim with so many different Pokemon experiences, and it's really surprising we haven't seen more people talking about how crazy some of this stuff is. For instance, besides just the airplane and the flight experience you would have, there's other things like vending machines with Pokemon themed snacks, Pokemon themed buses, even the manhole covers are Pokemon themed. We actually really like the design of this one because while it does still have that Pokemon charm to it, it doesn't lean into Pokemon and try to cram every single Pokemon possible into the design. They know what they like and they kind of just run with it, and it's something we think is really cool. Now, it is expected that this run for this Pokemon jet will likely run all the way up until maybe summer of 2022 before being discontinued, but it looks like there's actually another plane crossover that has been announced with the airline called Skymark Airlines, which is a budget airline in Japan, which will of course be Pikachu themed and was actually just unveiled a couple of weeks ago. Literally every single thing on this plane is Pikachu themed. You could see things like the tickets, the snacks, the cups of coffee, even where you go to check in has some sort of Pikachu association with it. And the amount of merchandise that goes with this Pokemon crossover is intense. There's things like blankets, neck pillows, and others that are just a really exciting way to celebrate Pokemon. The flight attendants even have Pikachu themed aprons, and there are Pikachu themed monorail trains that take passengers from terminal to terminal. There's even special Pikachu and Pokemon themed fragile and priority luggage stickers being used. This is incredibly crazy and exciting, and they also threw in some Pikachu buses while they're at it as well. So it looks like they are sparing no expense with really making this the ultimate Pikachu themed experience for travelers. There's even a special Pikachu that you could only catch during a set limited time for Pokemon Go, which is just a really cool crossover. And while the release for the plane with the new design is expected to be sometime later on this year, it seems like things are already in place to make this a really over-the-top Pikachu experience for at least some time to come. And we think it's really awesome getting to look back at the origins of how Pokemon infiltrated this interesting industry and how in a way it had its own evolution over the years and evolved into something really unique, with how nowadays we're seeing some really cool examples of going above and beyond with characters from a franchise that we all know and love all these years later. But what do you guys think about these Pokemon airplanes and jet crossover type things? Are you fans of them, or do you think it's a little bit too over the top for your own travel experiences? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. Also, real quick, if you watched this far into the video, maybe consider subscribing. We did just launch this channel, but we're really trying to cover Pokemon topics in a way unlike anyone else. We're trying to pick really cool topics to bring this channel to an interesting new type of audience. So if you guys want to be an early adapter of this channel, maybe consider subscribing and turning notifications on so you never miss one of our new uploads. Also, you can check out some of our other videos that we've done, look at these amazing thumbnails, and check them out, and let us know your feedback. We're always all ears to listen to any advice or any suggestions along the way. That's it for today, though. We'll see you all next time with a brand new video.